Okay, so today we are diving deep into some pretty dark territory.
Yeah,
We're looking at a rap music video.
right.
The track is New Era by NataOne.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're going to be looking at a transcript of the lyrics.
Yeah, always interesting to look at the lyrics like separate from the music to see
Right.
what's actually being said.
See what that looks like by itself.
Yeah.
So just a heads up, this one is really bleak.
Yeah, this is definitely some heavy stuff.
Gets into some pretty tough topics, but that's why we're here.
That's why we do the deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to unpack all those layers and see what we find.
Absolutely.
So, first of all, what hits you when you read through these lyrics?
Well, right away you get this feeling of like being trapped.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like stuck in a system that's working against you.
Right. It's not even just like a personal struggle. It's like societal.
Exactly. It's like a critique of the whole system, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting how he, right from the start, uses that image of the rat race.
Yeah. Life in a rat race on a 95 pace.
Yeah, like 95 miles an hour, no slowing down.
Constantly on the go, just trying to survive.
Right. And it's not even like enjoying the ride. It's like the speed itself is the problem.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, it's soul crushing.
Definitely. And, you know, this feeling of being trapped in the system, it's not new.
No, it makes me think of that book, The Jungle,
Oh, yeah.
by Upton Sinclair.
Classic.
Like totally different time period.
Totally.
But the same like feeling of being chewed up by the machine.
Yes, absolutely. Like the individual is powerless against these massive forces.
Yeah, and it's like here NataOne is saying that feeling is still so relevant today.
Right. Like the new era he's talking about is maybe not so new after all. If anything, it's like that feeling has gotten even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of that feeling comes from like his own personal history.
Oh, for sure. You can't ignore the impact of his past.
Like right away he talks about abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, that line about a baby hanging from a noose, that's heavy.
It's really disturbing imagery.
Absolutely. And it speaks to a level of trauma that's just, it's hard to comprehend.
Yeah, and it makes you think about like how that kind of experience shapes your whole worldview.
Oh, absolutely. It's like looking at the world through a lens of pain.
Right, and it helps explain like why the song is so bleak, you know.
It's like NataOne is saying, this is what the world did to me. This is how it made me feel.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's the violence.
Oh, yeah.
Like he doesn't shy away from it at all.
No, it's graphic. It's in your face. It's almost like he's trying to shock you.
Right, right. It's like a Tarantino movie in verse.
It's intense. So do you think he's being literal or is it more metaphorical?
Well, that's a tough one.
I mean, it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about like a language of despair.
Okay.
You know, when you've experienced that much pain, violence becomes a way to express it.
Right. It's like the only vocabulary he has left.
Exactly. And I don't think he's glorifying it. It's more like he's holding up a mirror.
Yeah, reflecting the violence that he sees in the world around him.
And maybe even the violence that he feels inside himself.
Yeah, and alongside that violence, there's this, like, desperate need for escape.
Oh, yeah. The drug use is a big part of that.
Yeah, he talks about, like, crushing, sniffing, purging.
It's like a cycle of addiction and desperation.
Right, and it's not, like, glamorous or anything. It's really raw and disturbing.
No, it's painful to read,
Yeah.
really. And I think it connects back to that feeling of being trapped.
Okay, how so?
Like, he's trying to escape the pain, but the escape itself becomes another trap.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Exactly, and it's something we see in society all the time, you know?
Yeah, right. Like the opioid epidemic, the rise of anxiety meds.
Exactly. It's like people are desperate for relief, but they end up in another kind of prison.
Yeah, it's like NataOne is showing us the dark underbelly of that search for escape.
And it's not pretty.
And then there's that story about the woman, the one who's forced into prostitution.
Yeah, that's a tough one to read.
It's heartbreaking, but it also feels like very real, you know?
Oh, absolutely. It's a reality for a lot of people, sadly.
And I think it's important that he includes it because it shows how that system we were talking about, it impacts real lives.
Yeah, it's not just an abstract idea. It's people being crushed by forces beyond their control.
And the line that gets me is when he says her MK starts filling up with straight up lies.
That one's chilling.
Yeah, because it's like she's internalizing the trauma.
Exactly. She starts to believe the lies that are being told of her about the world.
And it's like that's how the cycle continues.
It's the internalization of oppression.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things to break free from, you know?
So we've got this rat race, we've got this deep trauma, this violence, this desperate need for escape. And it all seems to lead back to this system that's chewing people up.
Yeah, it's a pretty bleak picture.
But I don't think NataOne is just trying to depress us,
Yeah.
you know?
No, I think it's more of a provocation.
Okay, like a wake-up call.
Exactly. Like he's forcing us to confront these harsh realities that we often ignore.
Yeah, and maybe by confronting them, we can start to find a way to change things.
Right. Like he's asking, if this is the new era, what are we going to do about it?
So, yeah, this is heavy stuff for sure.
Yeah, definitely not your typical party anthem.
But it's important, you know?
Absolutely. It's making us think, it's making us feel, and maybe that's the first step towards change.
So, yeah, go back, listen to the track again, think about those lyrics, and let's keep this conversation going,
Let's do it.
because this is something we need to talk about.
For sure.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.